Hello my friends! Today I'm going to show you 5 techniques that you can apply into your abstract whimsical portraits in watercolor. If you're new here, hi, I'm Radost, and through this channel I'd like to share with you my art journey. So if you like such content, consider subscribing. Thank you. Why portraits, you may ask? Apart from cats, human faces always fascinated me. I can remember myself back then sketching different celebrities. Nowadays, I am making semi-realistic portraits from time to time, but I'd like to expand these portraits to a new, whimsical, colorful level. If I already warn you as a viewer, it's time to start. First things first, let's make our pencil sketch. But before that, I'd like to mention that I am not an expert. These are just some techniques that work for me and might be useful for you as well. Let's get started. Now that the sketch is ready, it's time for the first technique, and that is using resistance. There are many methods to prevent the paint reaching certain areas, and they are, for example, masking fluid, masking tape, crayons, oil pastels, and wax candle. That's my favorite one. Rubbed over the paper like that. It will prevent the color from reaching certain areas. They will stay white. Or you can make them colorful by using crayons. Choose the places wisely, as they will stay white. Now it's time to start coloring and to show you the next technique, which is wet in wet. If you're not familiar, it's basically what it sounds. Applying wet paint on a wet surface. So you need to damp the paper first and then apply the colors without waiting for them to dry. They run together with no hard edges. This technique is really good for a start of a painting, as it can be built up and create an illusion of a blurry background. This technique is only partially controllable, but it's still enjoyable, and that makes it perfect for an abstract portrait. When you're ready with the colors for the first layer, just leave it to dry out completely. One of the most annoying things, in my opinion, is to wait for the paint to dry. So sometimes I use hairdryer or hot air gun, but be careful not to fire it up accidentally. The next technique I'd like to show you is wet on dry. When you apply wet paint over dry surface, we call it wet on dry, and it's easier to control, and that's why it's my favorite technique. You can start applying lighter wash, which is paint diluted with water, and when it's dry you can apply a new one, a new layer. You can apply it in certain areas to get stronger color. Applying color on a dry surface can create an illusion of a casted strong shadows, an illusion of depth. The next technique is color lifting. It can be used to create some texture, mask some mistakes, or to create certain shapes. When you lay your wash, you can lift or blot out some of that color using dry brush or paper towel. If the pigment is dry, you can try and wet it again, and even then you can lift some amount of color. It really depends on the staining quality of the pigment. If you want to use it as a texture effect, you can try it on a different piece of paper, playing with that paper towel and the effects it can create. And the last technique is using salt. Scattering salt over watercolor wash can create sparkles, but we have to be careful as it is a little bit uncontrollable. Scattering salt into watercolor wash is a way to create sparkles, but be careful as it can be a little unpredictable. But as already mentioned, it's an abstract portrait and you need to feel free to experiment. The type salt you choose can determine the effects you might end up with. For a snowy effect like little snowflakes, you can use table salt. For bigger marks, you can choose rock salt crystals. The most important part here is to put the crystals in while the paint is wet. If you still want to do something more to the painting, leave it to dry very well and brush off the salt, as we don't want the effect to spread. And our abstract portrait is ready. Tell me in the comments down below, have you tried some of these techniques, and share some of your tips and tricks, as I love learning new things every day. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye!